martial arts class, we're going to be using the Joe. This video is about how to use your Joe staff. Grab your Joe, start with a basic turning with your hand here. You're going to go side to side. Now the Joe is the medium length staff, so it's not going to be as long as that bow, which means it doesn't weigh as much. You're not going to get as much movement from side to side, but you still want to do this to warm up the wrist, get the blood flowing, stay safe from injury during this workout. It's also going to build power, strength in those forearms. You're going to spin this and you're going to strike with this staff a little bit differently than you do with your longer staff or the Japanese Joe, or bow, sorry. The bow staff's the long one. The Koreans call it the jongbong. I think in Chinese and Kung Fu circles, they call that either the gun or the bong. But this is the Joe. It's the medium-sized staff. You're going to warm up in the same way you do with most other long weapons. Just this twisting, get the power going, get the blood flowing, lubricate the joint, stay safe from injury. Good morning, Bob. Just going side to side. And now we're going to go into spinning. And spinning is a lot different here. Instead of spinning in the middle of the staff, we're going to take one end about two hand widths, we'll say 2 hand widths, from the top. And the way that you figure that out is if you're standing, you put the Joe between you and the threat, your elbow is going to be bent. Now most Joes, I like a Joe a little bit taller than this. This is all I have for right now. I have this and one that's actually a little bit shorter, so grab this one. But the Joe comes up to about your armpit. So if you're looking, if you have an older bow, an older staff, you want to cut it down to a Joe, measure just to where your armpit starts, and that's about how high you should have it. But it's still going to work if it's not as long. So this is just as good. Start with it between you and the threat, like every other weapon. You're going to put it between you and the threat, and pushing the backside forward, you're going to start your spin. So we'll start that from the beginning. From here, it's in my front hand. I'm going to push my hand down, and this is going to keep it to the outside of my body. You asked me how to do this spin, and this is how you start. This is also becomes a strike. If you have to defend yourself, let's say this is the threat. I like to use that as the threat because it's a water bag, kind of feels like punching the chin. So from here, say I can't punch him yet, so I want to use my stick, keep the stick between me and the threat. I'm going to bring that forward in that first striking motion, and it's very quick and it's very powerful. So from here, you have that first striking motion, but you're going to continue it to the inside. Now this sideways figure 8, or the endless spin, the infinity sign, it's the exact same as if you had a longer staff. If you're using a bow staff or your jongbong, it's the same staff, but you're holding it here, the same spin, and you're coming through one side to the other side. Now what that does is that gives you a leveraged weight. So the whole weight of the staff from here out is leveraged right here in your hand. So it's actually going to build more speed and strength in your spins. It's a good cross-training weapon, and it's really practical for self-defense. It's like learning how to fight with a walking stick. You want to learn how to defend yourself with a walking stick, the Joe is a great practice weapon. So you're just going side to side, front to back, and then the way you pass from one hand to the other is also different with this weapon. You simply take this hand and you put it in the same spot as the other hand. So this is the pass, right? If we were, again, in the middle, that's the pass. That's the pass. But since we're here on one end of the staff, the pass, simply one hand gets there and the other hand slides out, and that comes in. And this, it's not a big, complicated move. So it doesn't take a lot of practice, but you want to get really good at changing to the other hand. Good morning. We're working on the Joe today. So from here, I put that right foot forward because this is my right hand, and it's the same thing. I put the staff between me and the threat. This is that first strike. And where a lot of times with the longer staff, you might not be striking with the shorter staff. You're not going to strike with the long staff on the spins. The shorter staff, you are going to strike from here. Here he comes, and it just goes straight in. He's coming in too fast. You just bring that up, and it goes in for self-defense, for you to defend yourself. That's why using this jo, using the Japanese jo, learning how to fight with it, learning how to defend yourself, will allow you then to use it as a walking stick, or using one of the, there's so many cool walking sticks out there, right? You can just get a nice looking walking stick, and then all of a sudden, here comes the threat, you have that first strike. So we practice that with this basic spin. I want you to do 30 seconds per side, and then switch it back. 30 seconds on the other side, change, 30 seconds. Just go back and forth. There aren't as many fancy spins here. They're more about self-defense, more about fighting, more about striking and blocking, creating distance between you and the threat. Now, the next move that I want you to do from here to here is going to be practicing that first most basic strike. And it's about creating distance between you and the threat. You're behind your stick. You point your thumb at the threat in the same way that you do with the longer staff, which puts it into this backhand. So from here to here, I now have this stick. I'm going to slide first through the front hand into his solar plexus, into his throat, right between his, for self-defense, right into his face to create distance between me and the threat. So the threat's here. We'll make this our threat again. I just point my thumb at the threat, and I have that first. Got a good grip here. It's just a pull cue strike, just a sliding through the hand. Slide through that way. Now from here, bring it here, push it through, and then I want you to change. You should be ambidextrous with your weapons. You should be able to do the same thing on the right hand and left hand. So put it in the right hand, face it, point your thumb, and push. Now, here's a quick tip. You might not have anything to strike. You don't have the bags, you're not in the school, it's not available to you. Practice striking in the air. It's overrated. People don't think about it all the time. And you asked me too, how do I get that snap in the uniform like I did when I had the punch? You asked me that. How do you go back to get that? I don't know if you can, there it is. You can hear it. That's just the uniform kind of popping a little bit. You get that snap by practicing that strike in the same way. The other thing that's going to happen is you're going to start to make a connection between your body and your brain that when you need to defend yourself, you're hitting with full speed, power, force, commitment. You're going through the target. You go home safe. You're defending yourself. This is all about self-defense. So from here, I get behind the weapon, pop it to that back hand by pointing my thumb at the threat, and I have that first strike. This is going to lead you into the second strike, which is one of my favorites. From here, first strike, second strike. Looks familiar, right? Again, if this were the bow staff, basic strike. From here, same strike. Also, you can think of it as almost a sword strike, right? If you were doing Japanese sword, you'd actually have the other hand on the bottom, but you would be striking in the same way. Striking in the same way. So put the two together in your practice. You're going to push and strike into their solar plexus, knocking their wind out, and then breaking the clavicle or into their throat, straight into the temple for self-defense. So you create distance. The weapon goes between you and the threat. You push, strike, hard and fast. And to practice that, from here, push, strike, reset. I'm left-handed, so I usually put my left hand in the lead. You can do right hand, left hand. It doesn't matter because we're going to do both sides equally. Left foot forward, it's in the left hand. Push, strike. Now, I want to show you one more strike before I show you how to go from hand to hand, because this is really cool. This is my favorite part of the weapon, and that is if it's in the back hand. Let's say you're walking, all of a sudden you're caught off guard. It's in your back hand. I want you to simply lift. I can't express enough how powerful this technique is and how much force you're going to have when you stick this for self-defense right through the middle. So you're walking, and instead of it being the front hand, now it becomes the back hand. You point it, at their face, at their throat, at their solar plexus, at the groin, at the pit bull. Here in town, another little girl just yesterday mauled by a pit bull running around the neighborhood off the chain. It happens. It happens almost every day in America. So from here, you've got to protect your little girl or yourself. That's where you're aiming. But they're all the same technique. Up here, here. And I'm not advocating violence to animal. I'm just saying this gives you an option. This is a force multiplier. Your body's strong, but your skin is soft and fleshy, and there's a lot of blood that's going to pop out. This stick has no blood. This stick is going to allow you to strike and create distance and keep yourself safe from the attack, from the predator, whether the predator is a person or a group of people, multiple people, or a dog or a group of dogs. Could be a group of dogs, right? So one more real quick review, and then I'm going to go into another spin or another fancy hand technique. It's in front of you, the threat's coming in, you point your thumb, you push. You want all that distance. Now, they're right here, you've just knocked them back. That's the second strike. You can also bring your hands together. Anytime your hands come together, you've created a pivot point, meaning that it's going to increase in speed when you strike, like a baseball bat or a golf club. From here, you have more control. From here, you have more speed and power. They're just different. They're both techniques. They're both correct. One's not better than the other one. It depends on your application, which is all about self-defense. Self-defense are principles, not technique. Principle, situational awareness, see what's happening around you while it's happening. Number 2, get in a better position. Put the stick between you and the threat. 3, point your thumb at the threat and ask yourself, what are my targets? What am I going to remove or destroy? Eyesight, the ability to breathe temporarily, permanently, to see, permanently, shut off their operating system, right, for self-defense. So you ask yourself, and then you use any of these techniques. So you have the pull cue strike and this strike here, where you're pulling with that right hand and you're leading it with the front hand. The back hand always pulls when you're using a weapon like this. The front hand is always directing your strike. So either apart or when you're going all in, full speed, full power, that baseball bat. Back out here. Thank you so much, George. I really appreciate that. George, you're always coming through for me. I really appreciate that a lot. So from here or from here. Then it's in the backhand. From the backhand to this. Super simple, straight in. This goes back to my Marine Corps days, thinking of bayonet attacks, right? I'm here, strike, strike, strike. And then once you learn how to change your hands, which you're going to talk about right now, then you'll know how to go from one side to the other side, from this strike to this strike, and then over to this side and back to this side. So let's talk about that real quick. First thing I want you to do is start with your palms facing each other, and I want you to just change. You're going to do this for 30 seconds. This is going to help with proprioception. It's going to help with spatial awareness. It's going to get you some good calluses so your hands slide. Got my finger stuck there. That's why we do it, right? Back and forth, back and forth. 30 seconds. Then put your hand on the very end and your other hand on the very other end so that you're holding it like this. Bring one hand under and the other hand over. When they meet at the middle, turn your hands. Slide one hand back out to the end and the other hand to the other end. Palm up, palm down, change, all the way out. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The smoother you get, the quicker you'll go. So really take your time. Start to speed it up little by little. If yours has this, this came from Century. It's got the links below. It's got a finish on it. I haven't sanded the finish off yet. They'll move better when you sand the finish off. And let the oils from your hand feed the wood. Make it young again. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Gavin. I really appreciate that. Now, from here, honestly, when you guys do these super stickers, it really helps me a lot. Helps me pay for all of this time that I spend doing these in the mornings when I have time to. Makes me want to do more of them, right? All right, so from here, you're gonna have one hand over for a while. I like to do this 30 seconds, and then go the other way for 30 seconds. So you simply change, you put this one. Thank you, I really appreciate that you appreciate them. To me, it's a community. This is our community, right? I've been saying this for the last 5 or 6 years that martial arts is going this way. Because you might not have running water, and you probably do, but there are parts of the world, right? 7 billion people, whatever it is, 6 or 7 billion, and the majority don't have what we have in the West as far as access to resources go. But they have smartphones. And then Facebook just launched all these low-orbiting satellites all over the world, like 130 of them. And that gives 5G to all of these little people, like these little villages, people living in the desert, people living in the forests of the Philippines, people living in the mountains of Thailand. Now all of a sudden, they don't have running water in their house. They got to go to the stream or they got to go to the hole. They don't have 24-hour electricity. Maybe they've got a solar panel, or they've got a generator, or it's on sometime and it's off sometime. But they all have the smartphone. And that was the idea behind this, is that we could all come together because we all share one thing in common, which is the love for martial arts. We might have nothing else in common, except we all love the idea of feeling strong and young and healthy and being able to protect ourselves and learn something cool. All right, so 30 seconds, that's gonna give you this ability to transfer your hand from one side to the other. And what does that look like? There's that strike, there's the other side. One side and the other side. And this is your practice, 1, 2. And this is a super simplification, but what I want you to really get good at is not dropping this staff. When you spin the bow staff and you drop it and you pick it up, that's great. That means you're moving and you're learning. You're getting better and better and better at the spinning. But we're talking about a self-defense application for this weapon here. And it's okay if you drop it, as long as you pick it up, right? But I don't want you to get in the habit of dropping it. I want you to get in the habit of not ever letting it come out of your hands. So whether it's this strike, which we're gonna go over in just a second, or this block, or this strike into this block, and then you go back and you swing it up, and you're here, and you slide through, just smack myself in the head, hit that thing back there. But I didn't lose my staff. I'm still fighting, I'm still in the fight. I want you to stay in the fight, because the fight's not over till you win for self-defense. All right, back to the spins. From here, and this is to give you healthier forearms, and especially elbow. If you ever get the tendonitis, or you get the trigger fingers, or the arthritic hands or whatever, for those of you who are a little bit older, this is gonna help it so much. I guarantee you, or all your money back. So you're gonna go side to side in that same figure 8 spin. When it comes to the same side of the body, you're gonna do a finger roll, and it's a 3-finger roll. So we have continuous finger rolling, and just doing this is really good for your hands and your wrists, because you're extending. These are extensor exercises. You have the contraction, which is what we do almost all the time, almost all the strikes, all the moves, all the spins. The hand is closed, and it's closing all over, constantly. It's closing, opening. But we never really go wide with the fingers, and that's where the finger rolls come in. And so you have 2 styles. You have a continuous, which is just fingers, and you're going down and back up. And this is a really thick staff. So I love it for this purpose because it's heavier, but it's also 1.5 inches in diameter. And I usually use about a 1-inch diameter staff. So this is 1.5 inches. So it really forces me to open those hands. And if I start to get pain here, which I do from time to time from just too much of everything, I grab one of these in the morning. I warm up with my Indian swinging clubs, and then I go right into this. And then by the time I'm done, my shoulders feel great and my hands feel great. Good. All right, George, so this is how you get really good at finger rolls. If you're wearing a ring, take it off. I often don't do that. I just work around it. But take it off, because if you do have a ring, especially if it's not silicone, any kind of ring is going to get in the way. So start with your palm up, and I want you to hold it like a cigar. First finger and thumb. And then it'll be vertical. perpendicular to the ground, and then the thumb's gonna get out of the way, and you're gonna have it in the next two fingers, and then it gets vertical, and the next two fingers take it, and the next two fingers take it, and then when you're down, here's how you go back up. And I recognize that this is not an intuitive skill. You're not naturally born with this. It took me a long time to get these down too. And if you have a really heavy staff, it's gonna be harder. So allow yourself some grace for a while. Use your other hand as you train your fingers on how they're going to move. So see, I'm using this hand, and that's gonna help with the fatigue a little bit, and that's gonna get you doing the motion with this other hand assisting so that you're not constantly dropping it and picking it up until you can then get that hand out of the way and just keep it going. And that's super important. A lot of times people wanna be a master from the beginning. They wanna master the basics from the first class. And they get frustrated with themselves. And this is our human nature. Why can't I do this? The other guy does it. I should be able to. And the answer is you will once your ego gets out of the way. And like you weren't born doing it. Why do you expect that you should be able to do it? And the reason that we're doing it is because it's new and different and it's outside of your comfort zone. And it's a challenge. And that challenge allows you to grow. And that's why we're doing it. If it was easy, I wouldn't have you do it. I'd be say, okay, hold it like this. This is the class. If that's where we ended, everybody can do that. This is not easy. Yeah, exactly. Good point. All right, so we go down and we go back up. And you can also do the spin the other way, which for me is a little bit more challenging, which is why I'm gonna do it after I do the video. But I'm not gonna waste your time watching me pick my staff up for the next 5 minutes because I'm gonna drop it over and over and over again. And you should allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to just keep dropping it, keep picking it up, drop it, pick it up. Keep going, keep going. Then, once you've got the continuous spin, you're gonna go to the 3-finger spin. So what happens is when I get to the pinky, everything else is the same. I start with my thumb here, the first time that the thumb is there. 1, 2, 3. When I get there, I simply put these 3 fingers together, and then my thumb comes back into it and pulls it around. 1, 2, 3. Thumb grabs it. 2, 3. Thumb. Now, I want you to see this too. It's getting heavier. See how I now have a long side and a short side, and I started with my hand in the middle. And that happens on every single spin until you realize it's your job to slide the hand back to the middle during the spin, or you're gonna get there. And you ask me all the time, what happens? I'm spinning, and then all of a sudden I have a long side and a short side, and I'm out of the middle. The answer is slide your hand back. So, and at first, it's gonna be ugly, and it's gonna be raw, or it's gonna be rough, and then after a while, you're gonna get smoother, 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 and then you're gonna forget that you're even doing it, which is why I forget to tell you all the time, because I forget that I'm doing it all the time. Thank you so much, Aaron, I really appreciate that. Your super chats, your stickers, really, really pump me up. All right, so I'm going side to side, and this, again, I'm using to strike. Good. Yeah, that's the only way to get better, right? Drop it, pick it up, drop it, pick it up. Dropping is a sign that you're out of your comfort zone and that you're growing. Which means when you stop dropping it so much, which is gonna happen for you because you're gonna get really good at this, then start going faster, try new things, try more challenging positions, start to move your body forward and back while you're doing the same things, and then get into the habit of getting out of your comfort zone. Push yourself to grow. Fight to grow. I say this all the time. Most people fight for every reason they can think of why they shouldn't do something, or why they have to quit, or why it's too hard, or why they don't have enough time, they don't have enough money. They find 15 excuses, 15 reasons why. If they would spend just 1/10% of that time fighting for continuing, fight to grow. Oh, thank you again. Thanks, Gavin. Fight to keep going, fight to keep it up. You just fight to keep going, and you don't only need a little bit of that energy. It takes so much energy to think of all the reasons why you can't. And then you just stay frozen. You keep sitting there thinking about it. Get up and start moving, and then when you drop it and you get, oh, I shouldn't be dropping it, and get over your ego, fight to grow. Fight your ego. you dropped it, or like a few minutes ago, I hit that bag on my spin and it bounced off and it smacked me in the back of the head with this thick oak staff, and that still stings a little bit. Fight that. Fight the frustration of hitting yourself and continue to go. But you have to learn how to fight to grow. If you fight to grow, you'll always win. Now, why spin through the fingers in addition to getting healthier arms and a stronger grip because you're working your extensors? It's to change hand position. We said this is the first strike, but now I'm in this position, kind of like a sword, like the katana or the wooden practice sword, the bokken, right? So for self-defense, I spin here, but I also want to be able to get into this hand grip. And if you're a lightsaber fan, this is what you're going to use when you're practicing getting into that slicing motion, the Ahsoka Tano, and then you're back into this slicing position. It's a really good technique. It's a good skill to have, right? Yeah, and not everybody is, but some people are. So you're doing this spin, you bring it into this position, you continue with the spin, you go back into this one, do this for a while, come back into this hand position, and then you spin through. The change is always happening, as you can see. When my hand is outside the body, I'm here. Let me try to see if I can get that a little bit closer. From here, I'm simply doing this. It's the start of the finger roll. I'm pinching it. My middle finger pops behind it. I use the momentum of the spin, comes up, and then my hand is simply going to turn over, pull the finger out of the way, and now I'm back to this grip. I'm here to go into that. Here comes the spin. There's the same grip, thumb finger. The middle finger pops behind. As it comes over, I'm going to change, a little bit heavier, change into, this is the key. The finger comes over. And now I'm in this grip. So I'm here, I bring it back, drop it, there's the finger, pull it out of the way, do your spin, pull it out of the way. From the other side, my hand's getting a little tired. So from here, whoop, almost dropped it. Get the finger out of the way, do the spin, back into this grip. Now in this grip, I can strike, I can switch hands, you can switch hands, we practice this. From here, strike, I can pull, strike, I can then go to the sides, because you know how to do this too, but then watch this. This right hand is going to turn palm down, the left hand is palm up. I lift it just over my head, and I'm going to slide it down to the center of their body for self-defense, cracking them right in the middle of the skull, right? So what that looks like is this. I have that push, my hand comes here, the other hand comes here up over my head, and this left hand, which is now on the bottom, turns palm out, the right hand is palm up, and I use that hand sliding, pushing, that pushing, my hand pushing that and sliding at the same time accelerates the strike. The weight of the staff is held in your back hand, and because it's a jo and not a sword, you're ambidextrous. Everything you do with one hand, you'll be able to do with the other hand. So from here, up and over, and this is a good practice. This is going to help you with changing hand to hand. Palms on the outside, step forward to right, point to right, right hand down, left hand up, strike, the hands back, strike, strike, start to step in with your strike. Let me know if this is not making sense, because I want you to be able to get this. This is one of the most fundamental moves with the jo. Now, the next thing I want you to do is similar to that. You're going to go back out to the ends, but you're going to push the right. You're going to go through the right hand. It's going to be palm up. Left hand is going to be palm down. And you're going to strike the person behind you. You're going to hit them back there. And then you're going to come, and by the way, both ways are right. Palm up, changing, You're gonna hit that person behind you, and you're gonna come forward with this sweeping motion and smash him in the knee. So I hit this guy here behind me, I can bring it up, hit this guy here, and then from here, remember I said the hands can be either this way or the hands can be this way. Both ways are right. So you hit the person behind you, sweep forward, push back, sweep forward, push back, sweep forward, and then you can bring it up, and your hands are gonna spiral while you're turning. Good, thank you. That's why I make so many of these, because I feel like I got lost while I was talking. I didn't always understand it, so I need to do it again. So from here, you're turning up. This is just a blocking motion, right? It's the simple circle. And we do the same thing with the longer staff again. From here, we have this. We have all of these blocking motions up on the other kind of staff. If you were trying to punch my face or strike my face straight in, I have this motion, which is the same as this motion. Yeah, so the baseball bat, so we have block, block, strike, strike, and then if you want to, you can add that baseball bat strike. One more, and then I want to change up. I made a commitment to people who've been asking me for the cane, the martial arts cane. I've been using that more and more, and I'm watching. I'm sure you're seeing this too. I'm not an alarmist. I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom person, because I don't believe in that. I believe in staying positive up here. Crime's going up. It's going through the roof, and it's a lot of desperate people. It's an environment of politics and media and all that stuff. So it's a lot of factors, and like I said, I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying, protect yourself. Prepare so that you don't have to panic. Have some options, right? Situational awareness. The awareness part is, if you know that's a bad area, don't go there. But what if you don't have a choice? What if you have to? Yeah, I'm talking about crime. So now, I've been teaching the cane. I've been carrying my cane with me more and more places. And I don't use it to walk, but no one can ask me if I have to use a cane for mobility. It's the American with Disabilities Act here in the United States. It's my right. But that cane, if you think about a cane, you know, you've got the hook there. It's a Joe. It's a collie stick. It's got so many strikes. It's got all the same strikes. You can use it in a lot of the same, not all the same strikes, but a lot of the same ways. Anyway, we're gonna make that video in just a little bit, but I wanted to show you one more way that I want you to practice with your Joe. And there are many ways. We're gonna go over all of these. I'm gonna make a promise to you too. I'm gonna start to get the Joe out a lot more. And I have a new source for Joes. Someone is making me one right now. It's a little bit smaller diameter and comes up to my armpit, like I said. But use what you have. Don't wait to get started. All right, so we have this strike here, right? And we have the second strike. I want you to think of blocking your head. And it's a really cool thing. Imagine the baseball bat terraria, and they're coming, they're trying to hit your head, and you just go straight up. Straight up. By the way, when you block over the head, we don't go over this a lot. Yeah, Gavin, check my link below, because there are a couple of really good options in there. And then the same guy who's making my Joe is making a bow, right? And these are, they're going to be, once you've moved on from the broomstick, and then you go up to the $25, $30 Joe in the link below, or bow staff, you know, that nice one. But then you want, like, okay, this is my thing. I want to be really good at this. And you want to spend a little bit more. This is it. This is going to be an oak or another hardwood, and they're soaked in this oil, and it has polymers in it, so the wood's actually stronger and almost unbreakable, but probably unbreakable for most of us. And then I'm going to have a whole collection. I'm going to have the Yawara or the palm sticks that also you can use to break the window. And it's just because you keep asking me, where do I get this, where do I get that? And then most of the things on Amazon, I'm convinced now, are just drop ship garbage. And I'm starting to pull those links out because it just doesn't work that much. Oh, good. Other ones are hard to get, or they're out of stock, like the Century stuff is always out of stock, it seems. So this is a source where it's local, makes jobs here in town, and then costs a little bit more, but that's so people can put food on the table and feed their kids. And I really like that. The idea of making jobs gets me excited, right? Your stickers get me super excited. Making jobs for local people so they can feed their families and crime goes down gets me really, really excited. Yeah, it's pretty good, but they're all inconsistent. And I don't know if a lot of those companies are going to survive, the big ones especially, because a lot of schools are in trouble. And so I've always been looking for like local sources that can, like wood guys who love to work with wood. They love to make this kind of stuff. So I'm not sure about that one, Hank. I haven't seen it. But if you have the weapon that you really love, like I have my bow staff that I've had for over 30 years. It's like a part of my soul. I mean, it's that cool. And I'm sure I've gotten way more than what I spent on it. The value is extremely high. So final exercise, you have this straight up block. And if you look at the way, see my hands are palms facing each other? I'm gonna go straight up in the air to block when the attack's coming straight to my head. I wanna keep a smaller profile. I want to have my body here and block like this and create a little bit of that angle, like the angle of a roof on the houses up north, so the snow slides down. So from here, I block, but then I'm gonna take this hand out of the way. This back hand is gonna have a nice, strong grip, and I'm gonna bring it all the way through and just take his legs out. I want you to take his legs out for self-defense. So the idea here, you get in this better position, you strike him, maybe you change hands and strike him, change hands and strike him, but then get it up over your head, block yourself. The attack's coming in here, push it up and out of the way. And by the way, it can be a straight punch to your face, and that punch can be lifted and it exposes all those ribs, which is what you want to do for self-defense. So the high block is not just for attacks that are coming down. There are attacks coming straight into your face, and then you're pushing them up and making them expose their ribs. So you're blocking up, and then I want you to step back, get out of the way of the attack, and allow this to come through, swing, just a big old swing, and it can go low, it can go high, it can go to the face. I'll try to show you from this angle. So from here, stepping back, see how it goes behind my body, and then because I'm just making a big arc or a big circle, straight down to the leg. And you can have your hand here, doesn't matter. Just block and then strike. Change hand positions, try the block on the other side, swing it through, change hand positions, block, strike, change hand positions, block, strike. Over and over again, you're gonna get more flexibility, more motion, stronger, healthier shoulders while you're learning a practical self-defense move. I'm trying to do it I've got less room. Let me see if we can turn a little bit. Just show you the way I want you to practice it. So from here, down, here, down, here, down, sliding, blocking, through, just pulling. That's all that is. Blocking. And then you can put it together. Fight from behind, strike, block, strike. Or from here, strike, push, block, change hands, block here, bring it up, strike here, bring it here. You get the basic idea. You just add them together, add them up. And if you don't know all those moves yet, that's all right. We're going to do this again and again and again. I'm going to add this Joe into our practice every week. If you need more strength, more power in your hands, finish every workout with this move. Palms up, pushing over the back of the hand, stopping it, pushing over the back of the other hand. The faster you go, the stronger you're going to get. Capacity is all about the more you do, the more you can do. So push yourself to grow, get out of your comfort zone. Never stop. Always improve, get better day by day. Things are going to change. Your body changes, your brain changes, but everything gets better. It gets better in different ways. And adopt that as your mantra. It's not good, it's not bad, it's simply different. Be open to anything. And I'll see you guys.